the big news of last week, no doubt about it. Rory MacDonald signing with Bellator. You recall on this program back in March, Rory kind of broke the news that he was going to fight out his contract, test the waters. He has done that, and he decided to sign with Bellator. How fascinating is this? A sign of the times. He is now joining us on the phone. Rory, are you there?
Hey, I'm here.
Congratulations on the big news, Rory.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us as well. So when you were on the show back in March and you were kind of, maybe for lack of a better word, venting and saying what was going on behind the scenes, did you know already that you were about to fight your last UFC fight?
No, I was pretty transparent about the whole thing. I knew that we were going to go into a tough negotiation period. But I didn't know that UFC wasn't going to match me. But I had my doubts, about the whole thing. But at the end of the day, I really didn't know which way it was going to go.
When you fought against Wonderboy in Ottawa, did you feel the pressure of becoming a free agent? Did that affect you at all?
No, I was excited about the whole thing because it was time that I get paid, and I knew what I was worth. Win or lose, I know I bring a lot to the table. I'm one of the youngest and brightest fighters in the division, and I really don't think that I've even reached my potential. There's a long road ahead in my career, and I really don't even think that I've shown anything yet. I think there's a lot ahead of me. A lot of people are going to get excited in the next few years, I think.
So after that fight, how soon afterwards did you and your management team start talking to people, testing the waters? Like, how quickly did you get into the process?
Right away.
Right away.
Immediately. Yeah.
Did you receive any kind of offer initially from the UFC?
Yeah. I mean, they had an offer. We counter-offered. There was I think it went back and forth a few times, but at the end of the day, Bellator stepped up.
Was that where you wanted to go? Or would you have been happy going back to the UFC?
You know what? UFC's done a lot for me, and I'm not going to be one of those guys that shits all over them and say that they're doing this. Yeah, they've done a lot for my career. Without them, I wouldn't be where I am on this on the bargaining side of things. They put me in the position to do this, to build my career. They've given me many opportunities, so I would have been happy to go back with them. But at the same time, I also believe in the promoters and the company at Bellator. I believe in what they're doing, building a strong roster, and I have a lot of faith in them in the direction they're going in our sport.
When you met with Scott Coker and members of his team a couple of weeks ago, before they offered you a deal, before anything was signed, what was your impression of them? What did you like about them?
They're straight up guys. They're easy to talk to. They're approachable, and they have their ears open. They don't just have their plans, and they tell the fighters to just do what they want. They want to hear what the fighters want to do. They want to be creative, do something new. They don't want to just push their agenda, so to say. They want to listen and be partners almost. Do this together and build something unique. So it's been even though it's new, it's already been awesome. I've talked to the head guys over at Bellator and Spike in one day more than I have in a whole 7 years with the UFC.
Wow.
So.
Was that something that you wanted? You wanted a closer relationship with your promoter?
Well, I mean, I think that only benefits everybody.
Yeah.
I think, when you guys can work together, put your heads together and come up with something really special for the fans, I think people could really appreciate that.
When they offered you the deal, did the UFC say no or not match right away, or was there a back and forth? How did that play out?
The offer that I'm under currently, I'm pretty sure anyway that it was just straight up, we can't match that offer. but there was some back and forth leading up to it. But I mean, that's my manager's side of things. He was the one in the talks and doing the negotiations. That's I wasn't a part of that.
And once you got the word that they're not going to match and that you're headed to Bellator, what were you thinking? Because it's you came into the UFC as a kid and been so many great moments there, ups and downs, fought for the belt. Like, what were the emotions that you started to feel once it sunk in that you're leaving and now going somewhere new?
You know what? I was very excited. At the same time, I had the butterflies. This is a big career choice. So, I really had to feel very strongly about my move, and I did. I did. So I was nervous. Don't get me wrong, but I think I made the right choice.
How much did the new UFC, so to speak, the Reebok deal, all this stuff come into play as far as your decision is concerned?
I spoke about this at the press conference at Bellator, and I think I have to clarify something because I think a lot of people took it the wrong way.
Okay.
I think I'm sponsored by Reebok, and I appreciate everything they've done for me. They do a lot for me on a daily basis, and they've actually been great. And they actually want to come into the sport and make a positive effect. And you know what? They came in with not much time to work, putting together, the stuff that they got going on in the cage right now. But I think in the long run, they have their mind in the right place. They want to do good things for the sport, be a part of it for a long time. And I appreciate that. I just think the UFC went about it in the wrong way. They didn't really think of the fighters. I don't think, even though I think they say they're trying to make it out like they are. There was no discussion. It was just okay. This is happening, and deal with it, kind of thing, And that's not very respectful. I don't think that was a very good move. I don't appreciate that. But at the end of the day, I don't think it really played the biggest factor in my decision. It was more the numbers and the respect I get on a daily basis, the opportunities on the horizon that Bellator was believing in giving me and working with me, building my brand, and making money and making good fights and making a great promotion.
By the way, are you hitting pads as you're talking to us on the phone, or is that someone else?
It's other people.
Oh, man.
Someone else is on.
I would have given you major props for that. That would have been a first for us, hitting pads and speaking. So you mentioned that you were sponsored by Reebok. Is that going to continue? How does that work now that you've left the UFC?
Sorry, say that again?
How does it work? Because you had your own deal with Reebok, right? How does that work now that you've left the UFC? Are they still going to sponsor you?
I hope so. I guess we'll see. I still think that they have a great opportunity because of all the things that I'm going to be doing outside of the cage with Bellator and a lot of shows and good promotion. I think they could reap the benefits of that as well, not just reaching the UFC market. But I mean, that's a discussion I have to have with them.
Okay, you haven't had that discussion yet.
No.
Okay. I don't know if you've allowed yourself to think this way, but I know that you kind of look at the sport from a larger perspective at times. Do you feel like historically this is a significant move? This can help others jump? Like, are you trying to, when you talk about, not speaking to the fighters about the Reebok deal, do you want all fighters? Would you prefer, would you suggest to all fighters to fight out their contract, to test the waters, to do this sort of thing so that free agency really becomes, a real thing in MMA as opposed to how it's been in the past? Do you think that that's better for the sport, that this move kind of moves things along in that direction?
I think every fighter has a unique position, in their career. And I think like any business move, you have to have the right strategy going in. So everybody's got a unique situation, and I think they have to analyze their own. For me, in the position I was in, it was a smart move. I can't say that for everybody. Everybody's in the different stages of their career, so build your brand. Make a name for yourself, have good fights, put performances on, and maybe test it out. But I can't speak for everybody.
If the likes of Benson Henderson didn't sign with Bellator first, do you think you would have not considered them as seriously?
Like if they weren't, if they didn't have the brand, like they didn't.
Well, some people made
their name up in the UFC.
Well, no, like some people have made the jump before. UFC. You're obviously not the first to go from the UFC to Bellator, but if you were the first, like, do you think it's a little less daunting now that others have done it?
I think that I'm the one that's grabbed the most attention for it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. What do you think?
No, I think it's very significant. I think it's 100% significant. I was just saying, if you were to be, it's different. There's a difference between grabbing the most attention and being the first. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think that there's also the tide is turning a little bit. People are more aware. They see the opportunity where there was no opportunity before. So that's all.
Did you reach out to anyone who fights for Bellator to get their take on what it's like to work over there?
No.
No, wow. Interesting. Because they don't have a lot of Canadian. I mean, is there anyone at TriStar these days who fights for Bellator? Francis Carmon. That's right. Yeah, you didn't ask him?
Well, I believe we're managed under the same people, so my management had a pretty good idea. And plus, I mean, I met with the people and I've seen the product, so I didn't really have too much to ask. Right.
And was there any other promotion that kind of came at you strong that you were considering as well?
Bellator and UFC were my top choices.
Okay, you didn't want to consider anywhere else, because I heard there were others that really wanted to sign you as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think ONE FC took a crack at it, but it wasn't. They weren't in the ballpark.
Do you leave the UFC a little disappointed that you never were champion? Does that bother you? Do you think that that will eat at you inside?
Sorry, say that again?
The fact that you never won the UFC belt, you were so close, but you didn't get it. Does that bother you? Like, do you feel like that will eat at you inside? Do you leave disappointed?
Yeah, but like I was saying, I'm young.
Yeah.
There's a long journey ahead of me. I got another 10, 15 years ahead of me in this game. I think people have seen me for a long time at the top, getting a lot of attention, so they think that I'm old school and I'm on my way out. But they're going to be very surprised when they see me down the road in 10 years, still at the top of the game, But to answer your question, am I disappointed about leaving the UFC and not having the belt? Yeah, I am. And actually something right before we got on this conversation, something very interesting came up to me. We're going to have to see where it goes, but it has something to do with my title fight with Robbie. Some very interesting information that came about.
What? What are you talking about?
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. I don't really want to speak out too loud about it, but something that really grabbed my attention, and I think a lot of people are going to be very interested to hear about this if it actually is true. I have to do my research, but it could be potentially a very big thing.
Whoa!
And it pisses me off, and it pisses me right off to hear about it, to be honest, because I feel robbed. But I came in, I worked hard for that fight. I fought my heart out, and I left everything in there. I left my soul, and I really poured everything out there. I came in honest, and I always have my entire career. I don't play with no dirty drugs, any performance enhancers. That's something I don't believe in morally. I always believed in myself that if I worked hard, I trained hard, I worked my martial arts techniques, I could get to the top and I could be the best in the world. So the fact that whatever happened in there, if this is true, it pisses me right off to my core.
So, I mean, obviously, you may have heard that are you implying that you heard that he failed the drug test or something like that? Is that what you're saying?
Some test results came out 4 times higher than the limit.
For that fight or for his last fight?
My fight with him.
How does this come out now? He's fought twice since.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it could be bullshit.
Okay.
But, I mean, we have to look into it. That's why I don't want to
Okay.
I don't want to start pointing fingers or anything. But I mean, it definitely. Look at their team's history. Look at that team's history. You know, it makes me very suspicious. But I can't go out and start saying for sure without making my research and making sure that all this is true.
Good source?
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. So I'm sure, I guess that kind of adds to the question about not winning the belt. How many fights have you signed for? Can you tell us that? 6. Okay. And is this like collectively this, I mean, I feel like, okay, let me ask you this. Why can't I ask you, why is it taboo for me to ask you how much you're getting paid when in every other sport, I know how much LeBron James is making, Carmelo Anthony, every other athlete, but why is it taboo in fighting?
Well, you know what? I think the details of the contract are confidential.
Okay.
Because it takes a lot of creativity and work on our behalf to come up with this kind of a deal, you know, and I don't think you do understand exactly how much every other athlete is making, because there's a lot of undisclosed purses and things like that in deals and sports deals that you don't hear about. And I think it's proper that it's confidential, you know?
Okay, fair enough. When you were on the show in March, you said you want to get paid fine. Like, you have a family now, you've put in a lot of work, you've taken damage, you want to get paid what you're worth. Do you feel like now you are getting paid what you're worth?
Yeah, I do. I feel very happy with what we have.
Were you worried at all that you weren't going to get paid what you're worth and that you were going to be forced to walk away?
No, I was very confident.
Even after how the fight went in June, you didn't feel like you hurt your negotiation power, your leverage, anything like that?
No, because of what I've done. I mean, I think people realize that everybody has their bad nights in this game, but and that I have many years of great potential. So I think people realize in the long run, my stock is going up.
So initially I was told that you're targeting a sort of January debut, but I think on Friday you said maybe the summer time you're targeting. So yeah. Why 1 year away?
I want to make sure my nose is completely healed. I didn't do that last year after the Robbie fight. I just kind of was too hungry to get back in there and start punching people and getting into sparring matches and stuff. I didn't go about it smart, you know? So this time I got to take the proper time. I don't know if it'll be summer, but I really have to be smart about it, and I have to lay off sparring, you know?
Yeah.
I'm really going to tone that down in my career in general, because I mean, I've been doing this since I was 14 years old, sparring full-grown men, you know, so I've done thousands upon thousands of rounds. So I really just got to cool that down at this point in my career.
How is your nose now?
Feels great. I mean, actually, it was really, if you look at the pictures before the Steven fight, it was crooked. Steven actually straightened it out for me, so thank you, Steven.
What went wrong there, in your opinion? Like, why couldn't you figure him out in that fight?
You know, I think it wasn't a fact of not figuring him out. I think I just got stuck in a rhythm with the way I was training, and I didn't adapt to a style that I feel that was myself. You know, for so many years I've been trying to learn this, trying to learn that, and be so unique every single time. Where from now on, I'm going in with how I was in my early career. Like I have a certain style that fits me, you know, a pressure, a system that works with my body and my mind and stuff. So that intensity and that pressure and I'm going to be working on those skills rather than developing a brand new set of skills every time I step in the fight. Even though it's boosted my skill set majorly. But I also have to be true to myself and be true to the fighter that I am. You know, I think you're going to see a more consistent fighter.
For a guy who was saying that maybe he wanted a little more love, what was it like on Friday when it felt like you were sort of the belle of the ball and everyone's excited about you, your first day at school, kind of? What kind of reception did you get, and how much did you enjoy it?
I thought it was awesome. Everybody was really nice and, welcoming all the fighters. It was different. You go over there and everyone's like, welcome to the family.
Yeah.
And I felt like that, It feels like just warmer, a better vibe comes off of them. It almost feels like how it used to be. I guess I don't know how I could say that, but like there's a bit of that old school fight show vibe that's going on. Doesn't feel quite what I've been used to at the UFC for the last 2-3 years.
And you get the big reception, the big introduction with the Canadian flag, which was pretty damn awesome. And you hint that you are curious or you're interested in fighting at 185 as well. That's on the radar?
Ariel?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, my Bluetooth cut out.
Oh, no problem. I was just asking, is 185 like an immediate option for you? Because you hinted at that in the interview on television.
100%. My plans for Bellator, my recent plans or whatever, it's going to be, I'm going to fight for that 170-pound belt, and I'm going to take that off Korshkov or however you say his name, and I'm going up to 185, and I'm taking that too.
Damn.
I'm very focused on this. I want to be a 2-division champion. I want to do their tournaments. I want to do the whole thing. So it's going to be an exciting time.
Have you been told that your first fight will be for the belt?
No.
Okay. But that's what you'd like. You feel like you deserve that.
Yeah, it's going to happen though.
Okay. Let's end on this, Rory. Your first loss in the UFC was to Carlos Condit in Vancouver. And I couldn't help but kind of feel like there was some, I don't know, it was just kind of strange how on the weekend that you signed with Bellator, there's Carlos Condit fighting in Vancouver, losing, and now kind of questioning his career. I'm wondering if you saw that and what your emotions were seeing that, because I know how much you wanted to get that fight against him, the rematch, and never got it. What did you think when you saw all of that?
Yeah, could you imagine if we had the rematch there in Vancouver? It would have been pretty cool, huh?
Yes, it would have been great.
I thought that would have been awesome, but no, I knew that fight was going to be dangerous on both sides. Damian's one of those guys that he can really, he could put anybody away in the division. I believe I'm the only 170er that really stuck it to him. If I'm not, I don't know, am I wrong there?
He has 2 losses at 170, but I think that's a fair assessment. And also, by the way,
who else beat him?
His last loss was to you.
Yeah.
Jake Shields beat
Tyrone.
him. Jake Shields beat him. And him and Tyrone, yes, that's right.
Oh, Jake Shields beat him. That's right. It was a close fight.
It was a close fight. Your fight was a lot more one-sided.
That. Yeah, okay, I remember that fight. Well, yeah, Damian's one of those guys, he can make you look really bad fast, He's a very unique style to adapt to. You actually, you have to do some tricky things to stay away from his strengths.
Did you feel for Carlos, seeing him sort of talk about the end?
I didn't actually see his interview, but I can only imagine, especially after his loss with Robbie. I did see how he was speaking after, and he seems like he might be at the end of his career. He keeps questioning whether he should still be doing this. I have a lot of respect for Carlos. He taught me one of the most important lessons in my career, a very humbling experience, and I wish him all the best. I still think he's a very dangerous fighter in the division. But with this game, you can only do it if your heart is in it, and your mind is in it, because it takes everything to be at the top in this game.
Well, I wish you the best, Rory. What exciting news this is for you and your family. Congratulations on signing with Bellator. Hopefully they'll bring more events to Canada. I know a lot of your fans are wanting that.
100% we're coming to Canada. And like I was tweeting yesterday, these shows are going to be big.
Okay.
It's not going to be, this is going to be a legit show. You're going to go there and it's going to be an experience. You're going to be talking about it on the car ride home and the next day, and oh wow, that was an amazing show. I can't wait for the next one. And I could guarantee you, I'm going to be putting on a strong fight game when I come out there for Bellator. I'm going to be dropping people like flies out there. I mean, coming forward and bringing the action. Without a doubt, people are going to be going crazy.
Wow. Rejuvenated Rory MacDonald. I like it very much. I could sense the ambition and the confidence in your voice. It's great to hear. Thank you so much, Rory. Congratulations. We'll talk to you soon. Appreciate it very much.
All right. Thanks, Ariel. See you later.
There he is, Rory MacDonald. How about that? Wow. You can feel it in his voice, right? There's nothing like a fired up Rory MacDonald.